So, you're thinking of moving to Jasper County, South Carolina, or maybe you're just coming to visit Jasper County, South Carolina, and maybe you're a history buff like me. In today's video, we're going to go on the side roads and the back roads, and I'm going to show you some of Jasper County's best historic sites. And maybe this will just be great information for a Sunday drive for you, or a great motorcycle ride on a Sunday afternoon. But stay tuned and let's get started right now. Know everything there is to know about the South Carolina Lowcountry, whether it's Bluffton, Beaufort, Hilton Head Island, or Jasper County, then subscribe below and tap that bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know about the current market in the South Carolina Lowcountry. My name is David Simcox, host of Lowcountry Lifestyles and a local realtor. I get calls and emails every day from people just like you and you looking to make their move to the South Carolina Lowcountry, and I absolutely love it. So whether you're making your move in 3 days or 3 months, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or book a Zoom call, all in the description below so I can help you find your Lowcountry lifestyle. So today we're hitting the road and we're gonna go to all of the best historic sites in Jasper County. And Jasper County and the South Carolina Lowcountry has a very, very rich history, dating back to the Native Americans like the Yamasee and the Coosaw that were here, and then through the colonial era, and then through the antebellum South, where there were huge plantations that thrived on the backs of enslaved people, and then through the Civil War, and the Unions defeated the Confederates, and then through the Reconstruction, it all happened right here on this land all around you. So we're gonna check out buildings that were partially destroyed. We're going to check out old churches. We're going to check out all kinds of cool things. So let's get started. Don't go anywhere. All right, so the first stop on our tour is here at Euhaw Baptist Church. And as you can see, this is undergoing some renovations right now. This church was originally built in 1751 on Euhaw Creek, just a little ways away from here, and it was relocated here to Gillisonville. The church was actually burned down by Union troops in 1865, and this current building was rebuilt in 1906. This is one of the oldest churches, one of the oldest buildings in Jasper County. All right, so this next building, in my opinion, is one of the most beautiful buildings in all of Jasper County. This is the Church of the Holy Trinity Episcopal Church. It was built in 1858, and this church actually was spared by the Union troops because Sherman and his troops used this as a base. So they didn't burn this church down on their march to the sea. And there's a really cool story. The Union troops that were staying here in this church stole the Bible from the church, and then back in the 1920s, I think it was 1928, somebody that was a descendant of one of the Union soldiers found this Bible in their attic and actually returned it to the church, and it's now it's still here in the church, so you can go in and you can actually see that Bible. All right, so this next site is right off of Old House Road in Ridgeland. This is the site of the Battle of Honey Hill, and this was a victory for the Confederate troops in the Civil War. So what happened was the Confederate troops had a railroad that was their main supply line that ran very near here, and the Union troops had already taken control of Hilton Head Island, and that was their main operating base. And they were trying to shut off that railroad line of the Confederate soldiers, and so they came up through Port Royal. They came up through one of these little creeks in here. They disembarked off their boats, and they were basically hiking across this land right here, trying to get to the railroad. And they had a force of 5,000 Union soldiers, and they were met by a Confederate group of only 1,000 soldiers. And they had this battle right here at Honey Hill, and the Confederate troops destroyed the Union. The death toll was like 5-1. It was an overwhelming Confederate victory. Of course, the Confederates eventually lost the Civil War, but this was a temporary victory for them. So here, Battle of Honey Hill, there is a sign out on the road over there. If you're driving down Old House Road, you'll see the sign for the Battle of Honey Hill. All right, next we are at a very special place. This is the tomb and burial grounds of Thomas Heyward. And Thomas Heyward is one of South Carolina's most celebrated sons. He was a signer to the Declaration of Independence. He was a member of Continental Congress. He also was a member of the South Carolina Bar Association, and he's buried right here across from Whitehall Plantation, where he lived. These burial grounds, these tombs are right here on the river, and it is just absolutely beautiful, magical scenery out here with these amazing giant oak trees and Spanish moss. Definitely one of the coolest historic sites in Jasper County. All right, so this next stop may look like just a regular gas station, but it's actually one of the most historical businesses in Ridgeland. This is Cooler's Grocery Store, and it has been operated by the same family for 100 years now, right here off of 462. The original building was a little wooden building right over here, and a car actually ran into it and it burned down. So in the 1970s, they rebuilt this structure right here, and this place has been operating for 100 years. This is where I stop and I get boiled peanuts as my snack if I'm out driving around for the day. I also get my fishing bait here, my crickets and my worms. They have all kinds of local jams and jellies, and of course you can fill up your truck or your boat if you're going out fishing. They've got this really cool pond back here. They've got a seafood market over on that side, so if you need your fresh shrimp or crabs or anything like that, they've got some local artistry things there. But Cooler's Grocery Store, again, for over 100 years. Stop in and see these folks. And the Coolers are by far some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. So stop in and say hello. All right, so this next building was built in the 1920s, and this is the Pratt Library. And this houses some historical maps and photos and historical books from the South Carolina Lowcountry. And although this is a library now, this was actually the original elementary school in Ridgeland, dating back to the very founding of Ridgeland. So Pratt Memorial Library, if you want to check out some amazing old maps and old historical books, come in and check it out and spend an afternoon in there. It's really cool. All right, so next I am at the Morris Center for Lowcountry Heritage, and this is actually a museum that's been set up at a historic Sinclair gas station that's been restored and preserved by the Morris Foundation. And this is an interactive learning museum. They have traveling exhibits that come through here. Right now they've got a museum exhibit about the Battle of Honey Hill. I've seen things about Lowcountry cuisine that have come through here, things about the Gullah culture come through here. But this is an interactive learning center and museum right here at this really cool old Sinclair gas station. So if you're coming through Ridgeland and you want to stop in and spend a few hours learning about the history and heritage of Ridgeland and the Lowcountry, definitely check out the Morris Center. It's really, really cool. So now we're at the Jasper County Courthouse, and this was built in 1915. And dating back to the colonial era, this part of the this area in here was actually part of what was called the Beaufort district, which dates back to when King Charles gave this land to some of the noble families or noble people, and they were set up in districts. So it was part of the Beaufort district. And then when the county system came up, this area was part of Beaufort County and part of Hampton County. And then in 1912, Jasper County became its own entity. So they set up their own county. And this county courthouse was built just a couple of years later in 1915. So it's an absolutely gorgeous building right here in downtown Ridgeland. Come check it out. All right, so I am here at Gillisonville Baptist Church, and this is one of the oldest buildings in Jasper County. This was built in 1838, and everything you see here on this building is the way it looked back then, with the exception of one thing, and that's the steeple up at the top. And the reason being, that was blown off by a Union cannonball during the Civil War and rebuilt. Now this church was used as a field hospital during the Civil War, so there was dying and bloody bodies laying on the benches and within the church, and blood-stained floors. There's still bullet holes in the siding to this day, and there are unmarked graves from both Union and Confederate soldiers in the cemetery right here next to the church. The other thing is, on the interior of the church, there's actually a balcony where the slaves worshipped separately from the white plantation owners. There are inscriptions within the building from former Union soldiers that were encamped here, but this is one of the most unique historical spots. It's right in Gillisonville, which is a little area right outside of Ridgeland, about 7 or 8 miles outside. And this little area of Gillisonville actually used to be the seat of the Beaufort district government before there was counties. And I believe that old courthouse burned down, which was just about a block away here. But definitely come check out the Gillisonville Baptist Church. It's absolutely amazing to see. All right, so I'm here in Robertville at Robertville Baptist Church, and this congregation actually dates back to 1781 when they were called the Black Swamp Baptists, and they were actually over in Gillisonville. And the Confederate soldiers during the Civil War burned down their church, and so they purchased this building here from a group of Episcopals, and they actually moved the church all the way from Gillisonville, which is about 13 miles that way, here onto this current site. And you can see it as it stands today. And they renamed it Robertville Baptist Church because of one of their founding members, which was a Huguenot minister named Pierre Robert. And he's actually the author of Robert's Rules of Order. If you've ever heard of that, it's the way courtrooms maintain order and the way the legislative bodies go about their meetings in an orderly way. That's called Robert's Rules of Order. And the gentleman that was involved with this church here was the original author of Robert's Rules of Order. So if you're out in the Jasper County area and you want to take a little drive out to Robertville, which is just outside of Ridgeland, come check it out. It's a really beautiful little spot out in the country under these amazing moss-draped oak trees, and take a look around. It's really cool. All right, so now I'm in Hardeebille, and I'm actually in Purrysburg, or what used to be Purrysburg Township. So back in 1732, there was a Swiss Protestant by the name of Jean-Pierre Purry who brought a group of about, I think it was about 100 households and about 400 people to settle right here on the banks of the Savannah River. I'm literally about 100 yards away from the Savannah River, and I believe they were here helping people cross over the river and get over to Savannah. And believe it or not, the British Royal Crown had tried to set up establishments around here and failed, and then Jean-Pierre Purry was the first one to actually set up a successful settlement for a period of time, but it did eventually die out, and the settlement kind of went away. But it was one of the earliest settlements in Jasper County, right here in Hardeebille and right on the Savannah River. And I believe there is a gravestone for Purry somewhere down in the river. I've been trying to find it. I walked around, I can't seem to locate it. But if you want to check this out, it's a pretty cool historic site here in Hardeebille. All right, so now I am here at Hardeebille Methodist Church. And this church was built prior to the Civil War. It was built in 1860. And like many of the other remaining churches in the Lowcountry that survived the Civil War, it was used as a field hospital. And so I'm coming to learn that that was a common thing in that time for the Union troops to use these churches as field hospitals for their troops. And this one, they believe Sherman and his troops used this as a field hospital on their march to the sea as they were heading that way. But again, this is pretty interesting because on the Methodist Church at that time in the 1800s, the women would sit on the left and the men would sit on the right, and all the slaves would sit up in a balcony up above. They all worshiped together, but they were all separate. So I don't know what year that changed, but I believe the interior still shows that. So hope you enjoyed this Hardeebille Methodist Church. Let's keep going. All right, so I'm here at old number 7. This is an old wood-burning steam engine here in Hardeebille, and this is actually a steam engine dating back to about 1910. And the Argent Lumber Company used to use this to haul timber, and timber is still one of the biggest industries in the Lowcountry. Huge pine forest operations out here, but they actually said that this thing would do, I think it was 30 miles an hour when it was empty, and it would do about 15 miles an hour when it was fully loaded down. But look at this thing, it's absolutely incredible. And again, this is well over 100 years old and dates back to the very beginnings of our timber industry here in Jasper County, which is still alive and thriving today. All right, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed going and visiting some of those amazing historic sites here in Jasper County. And again, maybe if you'd like, one day you can jump in your own car or jump in your motorcycle and follow along the same route that we went to and go see some of these places on your own. And again, if you're thinking about moving to the South Carolina Lowcountry, whether it's Bluffton, Beaufort, Hilton Head Island, or Jasper County, be sure and like, subscribe, and tap that bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know about the current market here. Again, my name is David Simcox, host of Lowcountry Lifestyles and a local realtor. If I can help you find your Lowcountry lifestyle, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, or book a Zoom call, all in the description below. And until next time, have a wonderful day, and thanks for spending time with me.